Curl Next Door.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Curl Next Door podcast.
Hi, everyone. I'm Stephanie Podolak.
And I'm Tamara Robbins Griffith, and we are the podcast that aims to help you feel good about your hair, make things simplified, give you a little of curly hair context.
And have a little fun.
And have fun.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
My hair right now is not so fun. I'm having a bit of a dilemma of trying all these different products at once. And I think I went down some rabbit holes of information, and now I need to not try everything all at once.
Oh, what have you tried?
Confusion.
What have you tried and what do you want to prioritize?
I've been reading a lot about, the moisture and protein balance. Have you engaged in that conversation at all?
Not really. I need to do a deep dive on protein.
Yeah. And also kind of clarifying. And if you're over moisturizing, it's probably good to clarify. And then if you clarify too much, it can dry out your hair. And I'm just a bit confused because my hair, I finally got a haircut. Yay. Went to see Joey, did what I needed to do, took the advice from Star, and I need to see a professional and stop hacking away at my own hair. So I got a really good haircut from Joey, and I told him your story too about your bad haircut. And he was like, yeah, that's not what thinning shears are for.
Oh no. Oh my goodness.
I was like, Joey, can you think of a context where it does make sense to take out thinning shears for like a curly hair style? And he really couldn't. I think I'm not a professional hairdresser, right? But he was kind of made it sound like, well, you would use thinning shears to kind of add a bit of texture to someone who has straight hair, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. And for our listeners who missed that episode, we are talking about the worst haircut of my life when a junior stylist thinning sheared my entire head. And I'm still, I got it cut in June. It's been 6 months and it's still growing out. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Listen, I mean, we might say it's just hair, but sometimes if you use the wrong product or you get the wrong haircut, like it can take a long time. It is still only hair. However, it can take a long time to right the wrongs from kind of doing the wrong thing. And that's like my hair situation right now is kind of like a micro issue of that, where it's kind of like, have I gone in the wrong direction with some of the wrong products that are leaving it feeling a little bit kind of, I don't know, dried out, but also maybe over siliconed. I don't really know.
Yeah. And also the weather's not helping because it's colder out, it's drier out. So the texture changes. And it's not just hair, it's your personal brand. So it is worth taking care of and spending some time with it. Can I just tell you a very funny Joey story?
Yeah.
Joey is Tamara's hairstylist. I was at an event about a month ago, and we were celebrating a really great honor for a friend of mine, and she had quite a few people together to celebrate. And this guy walks in, and he looks kind of rock and roll, and I didn't know who he was, so I went up and introduced myself and learned that his name was Joey and that he's a hairstylist. And I got so excited thinking that it was Tamara's hairstylist, Joey. And I even said to him, wow, that's great. I've always wanted to meet you. You cut my podcast partner and friend's hair, Tamara Robbins Griffith. And he said, oh, yeah. No, I totally know who that is. And I said, yeah, we're podcast partners. I'm sure she's talked to you about the podcast. He said
that?
Oh, yeah. I know all about it. And so by the end of the night, I corner him. And
you were best friends with him.
I hung out with the guy all night because he was so fun. And I did a selfie and I sent it to Tamara. And she said to me, am I supposed to know who that is? So I was misled, or there was a massive miscommunication. This is not the Joey we were looking for.
Seriously. I was trying to figure it out in my head because, well, did he say he knows me? Does he have another client named Tamara? How did you get so far down the road of thinking he was the same person? Anyway, that is pretty funny.
Yeah, it was just a build. I think with hindsight, maybe I wasn't super clear. And he said, yes, I know Tamara. Maybe he has a different client named Tamara.
Yeah, I'm not the only Tamara in the world, certainly.
Oh, my
Toronto.
Goodness. It was just, it's too funny.
One other aside, because this might be a thing that resonates with people, because like if I've been feeling like my hair is kind of dry and whatever, could be because I was traveling and I was up in the mountains, for those who know Canada, I was out west in BC, I was in Kelowna, and apparently it is because that you're at a higher altitude. It's like the air is so dry, like even when there's snow everywhere. So you think of it as precipitation. I think it's very hard to do outdoor gardening there, even in the summer. And they were saying like if they have wet things, they dry like instantly. I don't know if that's the case in the winter too, but we were in Kelowna and then up in the mountains near Kelowna. And so that might be a thing too. Like I know we've talked about climate and where there's more humidity, but I wonder if that weather and climate had an impact on my hair.
I'm sure it did. And the water. And the water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure it did. And your hair, it has memories. It's still recovering. It does.
The hair is like, boy, that vacation did a number on me.
Yeah, okay. I think so.
Okay. We need to tell our listeners about our new Patreon.
Oh, yeah. So if you're looking for a Christmas gift to give us,
listen, if you enjoy the podcast and you want to help support us and you want to do something nice in 2023, you can donate on our Patreon, and you can find an easy link to it at our website,
curlnextdoor.ca.
curlnextdoor.ca. And, it doesn't have to be much. A small donation is really helpful. And you know what? No pressure. If we know times are tight. Cheese is expensive, right, Steph?
Cheese is very expensive right now, as is all food.
Yeah. But if you have the ability to give and you enjoy this podcast, that's an option for you. And also, if you just want to listen and enjoy, that's okay too.
Yeah. And just so you know where that money is being used, we have expenses tied to this podcast. There's some production expenses and some vendors that we pay for, and it would just help cover the costs.
Woohoo! So that's a thing now. We will link to it in our socials too. We have a very exciting guest today. So many things. You may or may not know her. It's going to be a great interview. And then, Steph, we also have had a beautiful VIP kit of hair product that was sent to us that we've been meaning to test out for a while, and finally had the chance to unbox it and try some of these products. So we're very grateful to Rizos Curls, who sent us a beautiful VIP kit of a wonderful range of products. We were sent a shampoo, a detangling spray, gel, a curl defining cream, a scalp scrub, Nourish oil, hair repair mask, and a scalp massage brush. Yes. So all of these products are part of a limited edition VIP box called Amor a los Rizos, and that is between Rizos Curls and Talia. So she is a Mexican pop star with beautiful, gorgeous, flowing, wavy hair. Yeah, it was super fun to unbox. She's super cute and very popular. She's known as the Queen of Latin Pop, and she's a Mexican singer and actress. One of the most successful and influential Mexican artists. So she's got her collab going. And so we tried out some of these products in this past week or so. And what do you think? And the box is pretty impressive too. If you want to order this, you can find it on their website.
Yes. And we have an unboxing video, which we'll post on social.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How did it go? Yeah. So I'll say first, Curb Appeal is aces. It's a gorgeous looking collection. It really added a bit of zhuzh to my curl shell. So that was really pretty. I felt very happy when I looked at it. Yeah. And I would say also the scent is really, really nice. The ingredients they use are wonderful. And there's lots of really nice smelling things in here. For example, this scalp scrub is pink clay and peppermint and aloe vera. And the hair repair mask is grapefruit, orange, and muru butter. So everything smelled really good. I always love when I try new product and it smells like I'm in a spa. So interesting thing for me, I'm not used to scalp scrubs. We've talked about this on the show before, like scalp treatment. is still
Yeah,
something
we've done one from, did we both try the one
Amica.
from Amica?
Amica, yeah. So it's a product category that I'm still wrapping my head around. So funny story, when I tried it, I was expecting a repair person to come to the house, but not for another hour. So in my head, I said, okay, this is great. I've got an hour. I'm going to have a really indulgent shower and try all this product out because there's all the things. And I wanted to do the full line. And so
Spa day.
I do a spa morning. So I put the scalp scrub in and I'm massaging it in with the massage brush, which is like this kind of rubbery pink brush with lots of sort of rubbery bristles on it. It feels really great. And I put the scrub in and I'm like doing its thing and the doorbell rings and the repair guy showed up an hour early or like 56 minutes early. And so now I'm panicking because I'm in the shower and Buddy's here and I know he'll leave. So I had to like hair wrap my head with the stuff still in it. And I go open the door, just like threw on whatever I could find. And I go open the door with my hair wrap.
Oh my God.
And so it's sitting there doing its thing while I let the guy in. So it was a bit of a mad panic. But so I'll be honest, jury's out on scalp scrubs for me. I'm just not sure. I found like it felt really nice to massage my head. And as I said, I really liked the scent. But I found it really dried out my hair. Like it felt like it soaked up all the moisture. And then when I washed it, it felt like straw. So then I overcompensated by adding in more styling product to try to make up for the dryness. And then I tried the scalp scrub again and I had the same experience. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure how they're supposed to work. I'm not sure if that's what's supposed to happen, but I would say I don't think it's for me.
Yeah. And that's okay. And I think one of the things that I've been reading a lot is like, it's about finding what's right for your hair. And sometimes people try a product and then feel like, oh, that didn't work. And it's like, well, that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It just means like maybe it's not doing what you need because everyone's hair is very different, especially if we're talking about everything from a type 2 to a type 3 to a type 4, right? Like very different hair, different needs.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And so then the other product, I tried them all. I also tried the Nourish oil.
Yeah.
That was kind of fun because I always find when I do my hair routine, there's always a little bit of a frizz halo left. And that's always the goal, like how to get rid of that frizz halo. And I've never been able to crack it. And it never occurred to me to try an oil. And so it didn't solve the problem completely, but it definitely helped reduce the frizz. So that was a good reminder to add an oil at the end of my hair routine. And it's got sort of like a dropper function, like you squeeze the top and it gets into the tube and then you put it in your hand and a little goes a long way.
Yeah. I know some people like to put some on their hands before they kind of break the cast and scrunch the crunch out.
Yeah, exactly right.
Or especially on the ends, right?
Yeah, that's exactly how I was using it too, because my ends have been pretty dry. So I think I'm going to keep going and trying out the Nourish oil and seeing how to best work it into my routine. I think the scalp scrub's off the list. And over to you. Were there a couple standouts for you?
Yeah. So I like the wash, the hydrating shampoo. I thought that was a nice shampoo. I actually used some of the Refresh and Detangle spray on Amelia because, I'm not overloading her waves with, a lot of styling product. I mean, she's 7, but she does get a lot of tangles. So whenever people send like a detangling spray, I'm like, I'm going to try it on her. So on her, she asked to try the scrub. So I used the scrub on her. And it seemed fine. Like I did the scrub on her just for fun. And then we washed it out, gave her some regular shampoo, and then did the detangle spray. That was all worked well for her. For me, I did the wash, which I enjoyed. I did the hair mask, the vitamin C hair repair mask, which I thought it was interesting, the smell, because it was kind of citrusy. And I don't think that's usually the case in a hair product. Like we have a lot of other scents that are more common. So, and it must be the grapefruit, I guess.
Yeah.
But it had the consistency and look of like icing. Yes. And then because of the citrus, it was like, this is like a lemon cake. And I almost wanted to eat it. That's how I was feeling in the shower. So like that mask And I did the define and hold, like I used the curl defining cream and the light hold gel. So I did those and I had it worked pretty well. Like, cause I usually use like a bit of curl cream and then some kind of a gel. That's sort of my basic routine. And so it looked pretty good. And I had a couple of days and then I had to do some more TV. So normally I don't wash my hair again after 2 days, but I did. The next time I didn't use the hair mask, but something went wrong in my process and it didn't work out so well the second time. But I also don't know if that's because I didn't condition enough or moisturize enough beforehand, or I used too much product, not enough product. My hair wasn't wet enough when I applied the product, or randomly, and this is again me trying too many different things at once, I was like, oh, I just saw a bunch of videos on Instagram of like the flip sectioning method that you and I had talked about a while back, the Sophie Marie Curly one. I'm going to try that. And I just think like it didn't really work for me, the flip section method with these products, or because my hair wasn't wet enough. And then it looked fine, but by day 2, it was just like a nest, a tangled kind of sticky mess. It's really hard to know why you're getting a result if you're doing a lot of different things at once.
Yeah, agreed. And as a reminder, we heard from when we spoke with Michelle from Bouclem, she reminded us that you shouldn't give up on a new hairline after one time. Give it a few goes, give it a couple weeks. Because like I said earlier, I think hair has memory. And so I think like I tried to use it several times in a row.
Yeah, that's
the
good.
lines so that I could wrap my head around it. So yeah, maybe give it another couple tries and see if it works better.
I was doing the flip section method for the first time. And also I had just come back from being away somewhere in the mountains with zero moisture in the air.
Right.
You know, so there's a lot of variables, right? And I do think that, you know, the product smelled nice. There were some definite winners that I really liked, and we'll absolutely keep trying. And this is kind of the joy of it. And I'm still torn. Like I love trying new things. So it's funny because even if I did land on like the perfect recipe for like my hair that was going to give me good results every time, I still think I'd always want to be trying something new.
Yeah,
it's kind of fun, right?
Yeah, definitely. Because maybe you'll find something better.
It's like we can live out all these things with our hair that maybe you don't want to try in your life. Like maybe you don't want to blow up your career or your relationship to always be trying something new.
Yeah.
But you can do that with your kind of fashion and beauty routines.
For sure. And this scalp scrub, I'm just realizing, is really skincare. I'm going to try it on my body.
Oh yeah, try it on your body, and it is skincare. It's skincare for your scalp, and I think, you know, it's probably just tricky to you have to apply that kind of thing in a way that you're getting it on your scalp, and yes, some of it's going to get on your hair, but you're not kind of saturating your whole head of hair with it.
Yeah, which for me is an impossible task.
Yeah,
to just sort of keep it on the part lines and not get it in my hair. Like, good luck.
Yeah, you're going to get it in your hair, but it's just a question of how much. And then maybe after that, you know, it's important which shampoo and conditioner you use too.
Very true. Very true. Well, thanks again, Rizos, for this great line, this beautiful line. And as Tamara mentioned earlier, we're really excited about our guest today. We have Alecia May from CurlyCon. Last year, she launched CurlyCon during COVID. It was a virtual event for all things curly. And she's relaunching it next year in real life. We're really excited to have her on today. She's a ton of fun.
She's like a top 40 under 40 event strategist. And she's done some really interesting live, virtual, and hybrid events. And I think she's a really interesting person with an interesting career. And she kind of saw some of what we've seen in the past 5 years with kind of a movement toward more acceptance of different hair textures across the board. And she said, how can we bring people together to kind of share information? So
here we go. Welcome, Alecia.
Hi, we're so excited today to be joined by Alecia May, creator of CurlyCon, the first ever curly-haired conference globally.
Let's
Can you
go
tell
with
us?
that.
Yeah, let's go with that. I had not heard of anything before this happened. And I don't know, Steph, I think that this popped up on our radar and we're like, what? Because obviously everything we connect on for Curl Next Door podcast is various aspects of the curly haired community and industry as a whole. And it's like, this is so exciting. We need to go. We need to find out more. We need to talk to the creator, all those things. So anyway, we did attend your last event. We're so happy to have you here today to tell us what's in store and kind of a little background on yourself.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and CurlyCon. When's the event? All the details.
Yes. Yeah. So my background is events. So I'm an event strategist and I love creating events. That's my job. That's what I wake up to do every day. So my background is events and marketing and understanding the concept and the strategy behind events. So when I combine my job, which is my passion, as well as my curly hair, which is also a passion, it just kind of formulated CurlyCon. And it was really born in the COVID era. I think a lot of people had these weird hobbies and things come up from it. And so, maybe not bored, but I was looking at some curly hair education and I was looking for that. And I could find a lot of YouTubers and, I know a lot of YouTubers back in, the early 2000s did a lot of curly hair blogs and whatnot, but I didn't find an event that was really suited for what I wanted it to be, which is an all-inclusive curly, kinky, coily. I don't care what kind of hair you have. You can have straight hair and still learn something across all ethnicities and really just be kind of the embodiment of curly textured hair. So that was my plan during COVID. And next year we're hosting it in April 2023 in Toronto. So it's a live experience and I'm super excited for this live experience because last year we did it digitally, right? We did it virtual.
But very smoothly, I might add.
Thank you.
I think a lot of people had to, in your industry, had to pivot to virtual events. And that's not an easy thing to do from the tech standpoint alone. But it's really smooth to kind of jump from these digital rooms. I think it's super awesome that we can go in person. And then will people be able to still because you had people from all over the world attending. So
we did.
And virtually if they...
Yeah. So next year is the same thing. Well, we are going to do a virtual component because we did have a very global audience, which I wasn't truly expecting because I live in Canada. And so people think we need to be a Canadian type of event, but we had a very worldwide international crowd joining in from India and Africa and Australia. So there was all the continents, maybe not Antarctica, all the continents of the world joining in. I know.
We need to get more engagement from the Antarctic curly hair market.
We got to find somebody. Actually, there's a TikToker, but that's a whole other conversation. So it was really great. And this year, I think as an event, a strategist and as an event producer, it's important to have a hybrid element because accessibility, carbon footprint, I can go on and on, but also if people don't want to travel and they're, I like my own little room too, and I don't want to travel sometimes. So it's always good to have that option. Really, you're missing out if you don't do a hybrid event, my opinion.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what was your biggest surprise though in holding the first CurlyCon? Was there anything that you didn't expect that happened, that went down? A takeaway that was a surprise for you?
I think the biggest takeaway was I forgot how much work events were. And I say that because I do events for clients. And for me, it's, I go through the motions and it is, but when it's your own event and you have so much riding on it, I forgot how high my own expectations were. And I forgot how crazy I get when it's something that I'm personally doing. So that was my expectations were really high. And as soon as I started looking at sponsors, I was surprised at how many said yes, even though I do sponsorships on a daily. I just didn't know how much this community needed this type of event. So it was a good surprise. Bad surprise, I think by the end I was stressed out because, you're trying to get all of these people in the same room. Some things, like you said, out of your control in a virtual environment. And I wish I had a magic button to transport myself to everyone's home to help them diagnose things. But, all in all, I think it was a great event and definitely surprises, but more good than bad. That's for sure.
That sounds so great. And so as you're planning for the 2023 event, is there anything that you want to tell our listeners about what's in store or any special guests or any surprises that you've got planned?
Oh, do I want to spill the beans is what you're asking me.
Well, you can spill like a couple beans and then I know you're going to have more beans as it gets closer because it's still a ways away, but your tickets are on sale now.
Yes, they are on sale. We did a great early bird. So we have a great first look. So I would say expect to be entertained and expect to have the experience of a lifetime. So I'll give you one bean. I'll do one bean. So as you walk in, you're going to be greeted by entertainers. I'm not going to say who and what and where, but you're going to be greeted and you're going to get little affirmations so that you feel amazing when you walk into the event. Because I notice when you go to events, sometimes, I don't know about you, where you're like, where do I go? How do I do this? What do I, where's my jacket go? What do I say? What do I do? So that's going to help ease your kind of your entry and your experience at the event. And then there's going to be a lot of fun Instagrammable moments with
Very
products
cool.
and brands. And it's very much about experience and, the branding and feeling good about the event and yourself.
That sounds so exciting, especially since last year you were virtual. It sounds like you've invested a lot of creativity and this feels like a really fresh way to launch an event.
I think so. I love creative events and I love branding. I want to take my picture on a swing. I want to take a picture of, a fun little 360 that we can showcase on TikTok. Why not? So for me, brainstorming it took me about 3 months of brainstorming after the first event to really think about what do I want it to happen? What's my plan and what's my goal for the audience? Because that's who matters, not me. The audiences matter.
Yeah.
What does the makeup of your audience look like?
It's a great mix. Definitely there's, I would say about 30% of content creators, sometimes maybe like 35%. It includes stylists in that because we did have a big surge of stylists attending, which I wasn't expecting either because it was for the curly hair consumer. But a lot of stylists have asked me for a specific track on just curly hair education for the stylist and for the salon. And that is something that we are going to be doing, but not crazy this year, maybe next year, 2024. But there's a great mix of everyone and anyone combined. So that was also maybe a good surprise that I didn't mention.
And sounds like there's a lot of great key learnings you've made and also ways that you're going to grow it bigger and more exciting and in person for next year. And you've only done it once.
I have
that sounds amazing. Like it seemed like a real success for a first time.
The first year events are really interesting, even when I plan them for clients, because expectations, I went through myself as a client journey here because it was my event. I'm like, oh, this is what a client feels like, and that's a great experience too. You forget how much stress and pressure it is, but also expectations and sponsorships and, all of the key tracks and, how am I going to make this successful? Really, you take those learnings and you apply them to next year. And I'm always learning anyway, like as an event producer, I'm not perfect and nothing is going to be perfect. So, but I can't wait to see the evolution. I've got ideas for 2024, 2025. They're in my little notebook. You always have to think ahead of how to get that experience to the next level and what the people want. And so, I ask them, hey, what do you guys want? What do you want to see? What do you want to, and people have great ideas. And there's also some fun ideas that I probably won't implement, but maybe in the future, who knows?
Yeah.
How is the reception on it? And this sort of ties to another question, which is why now? And I know you mentioned it was a labor of love during COVID.
Yes.
But, we talk a lot on this show about the timing and how it's a really interesting time in society where women are embracing their natural hair. And we're seeing this trend become more and more inclusive. And so the timing of your event feels really great because it's an event for women of all curl types or women and men with all curl types. And so, yeah, I just sort of wanted to get your perspective on why now and your feelings and point of view on this trend towards the natural hair movement.
It's a great question. And I don't know if you did this, but when I was in early 2000s, I used to straighten my hair every chance I got because hands up, right? Probably everyone on the call. And I used to do it with like an iron.
Yeah.
Remember? You used to like, hey, can you straighten my hair? And so in a world where we almost idolize straight hair, we used to, not anymore, but we so long straight and that kind of shiny, flowy hair was really the epitome of beauty almost, right? Because I wanted to be, I want straight hair, be beautiful. It's been this kind of back and forth for decades. You saw like early 2000s magazines and they're all straight hair, but now we widen those kind of narrow standards, if you will. Mm-hmm. So it's really important to, I think, as we go and as we grow into this kind of community of natural hair, it's really encouraging us to feel confident, right? And to feel and to celebrate our natural curls, no matter what the state. You know, I have to stop apologizing for my hair when it's up because I'm like, oh, my hair's up. No, it's wash day. Wait a second. Yeah. Never mind. It's my natural hair. And it's just women. I think women in general have to start appreciating and understanding that, you know, this is what we're born with. So let's continue to feel and embrace no matter what state. And one of my speakers last year, Alecia, she is out of Miami. She says, I love my hair. I don't care if it's rained on, if there's humidity, it doesn't matter. It's all, and she was fluffing up her hair. She's like, it's beautiful. It's, you know, might be ugly, but it's beautiful. I love it. I love it. And so her words really stuck with me and that kind of making sure to celebrate it every day and allow us to be true to ourselves, connect to our, you know, roots, whatever they may be, right? And just not to be shamed because women, we always face a lot of shame, I think, in you know, makeup and beauty and standards. And so this is just one way to celebrate all of the things that we go through for curly hair, textured hair.
I love that. And we wanted to ask you about your curly hair journey. You mentioned you used to flat iron and iron your hair quite a bit, but what was the tipping point for you to go from that point to loving and embracing your own hair?
I bleached my hair since I was 19 years old. And it's been 20 years. I'm showing my age, but it's okay. So 20 years of bleaching my hair every 3 to 6 months, let's say. And so my curls just became, and I have the type of hair that I think a lot of people can't endure that, but it was going to the point where it was stringy and flat and frizzy and there was no curl pattern. And I have pictures and I'm like, what does my hair become? And so that for me was the tipping point in the curl journey because nothing would work anymore. None of my styling products, nothing worked. And I thought, okay, this is not my hair. I don't know whose hair this is, but it's not mine. And so when I started to really do the work, put in the prep, repair damage, my curls came back like tenfold. I went from stringy, frizzy, almost straight hair to having the curls back. And I was just kind of during COVID, it was more to the point of I wasn't doing anything because, you know, events had shut down for a little bit, you know, the first 3 months, no one was doing anything. So I really took the time and effort and energy. But tipping point was that bleach.
And you stopped bleaching?
I stopped bleaching. I'm 2 years without bleach. I feel like that was like addiction.
Yes, it is because I'm still there. I mean, I don't bleach my whole head, but I have highlights and it's really hard for me to like walk away from that. And as a counterpoint, you know, I try so hard to take care of it and get regular trims and not do heat styling anymore. Because at one point my hair was bleached and keratin and chemical straightening and heat styling, all the things at once, right? Oof. So anyway, it's tough.
But I find, is there a way to like bleach your hair or have some color in it that it doesn't damage your hair to that effect? Because I like this look of bleach. I really do.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, we actually talked, didn't we talk to Tammy Axworthy, the hairstylist on the podcast about bleach stuff? And to some extent, some of the feedback we've heard and from my own colorist is the quality of the product and how it's applied does make a difference. So, you know, if it's a higher quality, perhaps bleach, it's not being maybe left on longer than necessary. For me, it's highlights, so it's not all over. I mean, maybe that can help make a difference. What I was going to ask is, when you decided to kind of pivot and you're like, I really need to take care of my hair and change up this routine, where did you go for your information? Were there any particular influencers? Was it YouTube? Was it Instagram? Was it a blog?
It was a combination of written blogs and a YouTube channel. And really, it was a combination of a few different YouTube channels, because everyone has different hair, and maybe that person, didn't really, her hair wasn't as curly as mine, or vice versa. So I read a lot of blogs. I read a lot of science. I read a lot of boring articles on hair and where, what it actually was. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm learning so many things. But most of it was repairing damage at that point. And so I Googled literally how to repair curly hair, blonde bleach damage. And so I think I went through 20 or 40 Google pages of just reading and understanding. But I like to get to the science behind it myself, and just to understand how hair works and what doesn't. And I always remembered asking my stylist, well, not my ex-stylist now, why isn't my hair going curly? And she never really could tell me, and she never had an answer. And it's well, because she knows the bleach is hurting it. She had an answer, but she wasn't telling me. But definitely YouTubers, and just a variety of them, and just picking out what worked. And it was a lot of trial and error, as you know, right? At the end of the day, it's you have to try it. And if it doesn't work, move on.
Totally. And so what's your hair routine now?
So my hair routine now is, I like to do a deep conditioner and then a protein treatment every other week. So I kind of really mix those masks up, but I do use sulfate free right now. I'm using Less brands, and that for me works right now. Very pleasantly surprised, because a couple of years ago, they know this because I talked to them. So it's public knowledge, but it didn't work for me. It was terrible. I was like, this is terrible. I love also Curl Keeper. Huge fan. They're a sponsor of, yes. Thumbs up, everyone.
Fans too.
Yeah.
I think it's a classic.
Curl Keeper and Jonathan Torch. That's he does my hair. Oh. Huge. Yes. He's a big sponsor of our event. And so shout out to Curl Keeper. But their products, their gel anyway is where the styling dreams are made of. So I currently use shampoo and conditioner from Less, deep conditioner from Less. Sometimes I'll do a bounce curl treatment, and then sometimes I'll use Curl Smith, especially in the winter, scalp treatment, because it's, how it gets really, really dry and cold here in Canada. And then of course, Curl Keeper all the way for styling. And their brush is fantastic. The brush is what dreams are made of.
Yeah, the flat brush.
All of their brushes.
All their brushes.
All of them. So they have a styling, they have one that you can kind of sweep up, right? And do the volume. And then they have a detangling, and then they have a flat brush.
I want the detangling's the one you can use in the shower, right?
Yes. Oh yeah.
I just put it on my gift list for Christmas. Edward, if you're listening. I totally did put that brush on my list.
Yeah.
Or you can come to CurlyCon, because
it may or may not be in a gift bag.
Maybe
we'll be
not.
There. We'll be there. Listen, I mean, your whole event, the whole vibe of it, the inclusivity, the positivity, all of that is sort of like an in-person event embodiment of how Steph and I think, feel about curls, and why we started the podcast, is a celebration of the people and the beauty of curls and natural hair, and just feeling good about yourself, and being inclusive and respecting others, and, all of that. So, I mean, and then of course, getting into the science of it, and just wanting to hear about the latest product and try a new technique, and all in an effort to, not be perfect, but just have fun.
Have fun. I love that. Yes. Love that.
So what did you learn? Did you learn any new tricks at the last CurlyCon where you were like, I'm going to do this with my hair now?
Well, Marianne from Bounce Curl unveiled this new technique. And so that was really interesting for me. I also learned from Dyson about the science of heat, which it sounds really maybe boring, but learning and listening to the engineer and learning about how it's different. I'm actually in the market now. I didn't throw out my hairdryer after the event, but I was using just a plain old hairdryer from I don't even know when, but with a diffuser. And now I'm actually in the market to buy a new hairdryer, and I'm going to see what it looks like, because I like heat. Unfortunately, my hair is so long and thick that I need to need to do that. But there was a lot of great new techniques that Marianne from Bounce Curls plays.
Okay. Good one. Good call.
And were the techniques about how to apply the product, or can you expand on any of that?
Yeah, absolutely. So it was more about how you apply the product and how to style the product.
Okay.
So the sectioning was a lot different. You know how sometimes you just take the kind of crown and you just kind of section it off. She did like different sections, and she did it strategically versus like this way. She did half of the head, and then I think she did the other half of the head, which was interesting because it helped more define the curls. But you have to watch her because she did it on a mannequin. It was really, really interesting. I did it one time and then I forgot, but it worked. It worked.
I'm interested in this because I do section like basically the whole crown and then the sides and the back. And I had a YouTube video that I followed a while back, and that's like my routine. And I'm sort of an old dog. It's hard to, when I get like used to something and it sort of works, hard to break out of it. But I do want to see other sectioning techniques. So where can we download it? Did we have to download it at the time?
So I will give you access. I will give you access. No problem. But if you are a VIP holder from last year, you have access for the entire year. Oh. But I'll give you access because it's really interesting the way she sectioned her hair. Because like I said, every section from crown to, all the way up, but she did it differently. And it was
different
really,
direction.
Yeah, different direction. And she said, you can brush the hair however you want. I'm like, oh, that's different. That's new to me because it went against everything that I saw on YouTube, right? Or content creators. But you have to remember though, content creators are doing it for what works in their hair versus the general public. So
that's a good point. That's a good point. But I do think there's something about, so many of these different techniques. We talked recently about plopping, and we've talked about, water and all these things, and scrunching the crunch out and squishing to condition, all these things. But like, I think sectioning is really important because kind of how you section it sort of stays in that pattern.
Right.
You do,
well, have you heard of the flip method where you flip your hair in a bowl, the bowl method? Yeah. That really does not work on my hair. Like I flip it up and I've got frizz, and that's all it is wet frizz. But if I do it a different way, and that may not sectioning, but it's a technique, it just, I look like a wet frizzy rat. Like, I'm sorry, but it just doesn't work for me. And so, the way that I section it now, and I've done it, this way, and I've done it crown, and I've done it, side by side head. It's just what works for you, I think, and how much you decide effort to put into your styling routine too. Some days I'm like, I don't want to do it.
That's so true. And we often talk about how this is just a learning journey forever. And even something that worked yesterday won't work tomorrow.
Right. That's so true. It is so, I'm like, we worked yesterday, worked last week, and now it's just not. I don't know what's happening.
Exactly.
So many variables. The weather, your age, your hormones, your haircut, the water, the humidity.
100%. And the water, actually, I wanted to say the water really, I have well water at home. So it comes from a well. And, the well water, not a very good look for curly hair. So I have to make sure I put a softener in my, or like at least breaks down. But that really contributed to the ratty hair that I used to be like, why is my hair feel like straw? And so that was a big factor to when I switched over in COVID world. I'm like, oh, the water has something to do with it. I had no idea. Maybe I did, but yeah.
Totally. So just on another note, we'd love to hear from you on who else is influencing you right now. Who do you have your eye on? Celebrities, content creators, anyone like that you want to share with us?
Wow, so many. Of course, I love Barbara from Curl Vitality. She's a huge TikToker. She's going to be part of my event in a big way next year. So she's always one that I go to for advice, and we have our curl talk sometimes. Found actually a new person on Instagram. Her name is Wanda Mulzak. I love the way she does her curly hair. And then of course we have Gal's curly hair, wavy hair. She's in Ottawa. She's coming to CurlyCon, and I actually watch her lives. Shout out to Gal on Tuesdays at 12. I think she does like a cross between Instagram and TikTok. So she's really cool to watch, and her bowl method definitely works for her. Doesn't work for me. There's so many that I find on a daily basis. They're always popping up new people and new, ways, but I'm trying to find more that really resonate with a CurlyCon kind of vibe that I can invite, and, hopefully they love it.
I bet they will. They'll come on board. So I think we know the line sort of between beauty, politics, racism, feminism, it overlaps. And then we talk about inclusion, and a lot of the topics around curly hair involve issues, like serious issues, not just hairstyling. And one of the things that is so fascinating about this community, how do you think your event, like what role does your event play in perhaps bringing about positive change?
I think the event really goes about positive change because I make it be about positive change. Like we really map out different scenarios of keynotes and panels. Like last year we had a panel on Black women in society and culture. And we talked about discrimination that they faced. And, you know, I heard about this one person who actually did not get the job of her dreams because of her natural hair texture and the way it looked to the employer, that it wasn't professional enough. So we bring up these issues in our various panels, in our various talks, and we make it known that we are talking about it and we are trying to make a change about it in some way. And even educating others, because before I was like, oh, this is a thing. I didn't know this. As a white woman, I didn't know this was a thing. Maybe a little bit, but not to the extent of maybe the Black community or the BIPOC community. So for me, it was really important because I have friends and I didn't know what they're going through. Maybe they didn't know what I was going through. So kind of cross education is really important, making it known and really just allow ourselves to have the conversation between races, between our industry itself. At the end of the day, right, we want to make sure that we have a space where we feel safe to talk about it and not discriminated because everyone else is doing that behind, you know, employers' doors and whatnot. And we want to understand that we kind of capture that conversation in a great way to shine more light and to maybe make positive changes. One of our media publications that came Fashion and in Style last year or last event at CurlyCon, they did a piece about it as well because they're really interested in kind of the movement that's coming about as we make changes, as we make headway for everybody in texture community. So I think, you know, that's the way we're shaping it up, and hopefully we continue grow and having, you know, better, bigger conversations about it, right? We're making some noise, making a splash.
I think it's so great that you're doing that and not glossing over it and not just acting like white women are the center of the curly haired universe, because, you know, there's so many of us. And as you mentioned, you know, we feel like we had to straighten our hair and we didn't fit the beauty ideals. And I think a lot of feelings that I think white women have about their curls, it's almost just the BIPOC community. It's like, and then tenfold. And
exactly.
Then all these other layers on top of that, right?
Well, in the BIPOC community, I think history suggested that when they were like a lot of in the Black community, they were enslaved. It was like part of this where they had to shave their head because it was seen as certain view. But it was, you know, you get into the history of things and it's really interesting. And I always recommend everyone to go educate and to see where all of us as a civilization, not just one race or another, it's not about that, but it's also about kind of coming together. And so to me, it's super important, and it's important for everyone to learn and grow no matter where you came from or who you are. So yeah, it's a big goal. It's a big goal for CurlyCon for sure.
Yeah, it's so great though. Is there anything else that we haven't asked that you want to tell us about yourself or the event?
Definitely, if you are listening, you have curly hair and you have wavy hair, kinky coily, whatever hair it is, I hope you come to learn about CurlyCon, make a decision if it's right for you. But definitely, it's a place where we're going to celebrate you. We're going to celebrate your curls. I care about every single person that walks in that door. I have a personal vested interest in, you know, I packaged every single VIP box myself last year with care and love. So we try to do as best as possible to make your experience like you feel great when you walk in and you feel great when you leave that door. And all of our speakers are hand selected and really, you know, taken into, again, the goal of the event, which I mentioned earlier. So, you know, take a chance, come on out April 15th and 16th next year. And I really hope to see you there. And if you can't join us wherever you are in the world, there's a virtual option as well. So feel free to ping me on Instagram too. I'm on CurlyCon 2023 and I always watch my stories. So,
okay. And how does the audience buy tickets?
oh, you can go to CurlyConEvent.com. And, it was funny because some people are like, well, I did a live a couple of weeks ago when we launched tickets on Instagram. And like, I wish I could come. And I said, oh, where are you located? Oh, I'm in New York. I said, well, there is such thing as a train or there is such thing as an airplane. So she's like, oh, I guess you're right. And she ended up buying a VIP ticket after. So, if you are looking to make a change, meet some people, I mean, this is a place where you're meeting the whole community, not just one person, but like content creators and, global. And actually, I maybe can drop this. Maybe I'll give you another bean. I don't know if I should.
One bean.
We actually have, I don't know if you know her. Her name is Nubia Rizzo. She's from Rizzo's Hair.
Yeah, we know Nubia.
Yeah. She's going to be a speaker at my event. So
amazing.
She's amazing in the industry. She was part of our panel last year and she came on literally like the night before. I don't know if I should be telling you this, but she's like, I want to be part of it. So this year she'll be part of it in a big way. She'll be a speaker.
Nubia is one of the first people we interviewed when we started incorporating guests onto the podcast, and we love her. She is her message is so positive, and she's so full of love. And the imagery she painted in my mind about curls being like a garden of flowers.
Oh, wow, that's fantastic.
I can't even, I love this woman. So it'll be super fun to see her.
Yes,
in
absolutely.
The flesh. Yeah.
Yes. Among others,
all right.
But I won't spill any more beans.
Oh, we know you're going to have some amazing guests. So thank you so much for joining us, Alecia. And
thank you.
We will definitely keep tabs on any new announcements you're making. We can reshare them on our socials as well and keep our listeners up to date on any little beans, any trail of crumbs that you leave with exciting news as we lead up in the winter and spring, getting closer to the event.
I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you. But before we let you go, we always like to do like a speed round. So we're going to ask you some questions and you have to answer with the first thing that comes to your mind. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
I might be ready.
All right. First one. Who is your favorite curly haired celebrity and why?
Ooh, Tori Kelly.
Oh, yes. Tori Kelly. She was in my Facebook today when I was doing something for the podcast because I think Tori Kelly has this is not rapid fire at all. This is tangential, but she has a kid's book, right? And we talked about it in an episode of the podcast. Super cute and amazing.
The Curly Girl Blues. The Curly Girl Blues. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's all about curly hair. Yeah.
Right. I know. Okay. Another question for you. If you were stranded on a desert island and you could only bring one curly haired product, what would it be?
Definitely, it would be the Curl Keeper gel because I need that gel. It has to be the Curl Keeper original liquid gel styler. 100%.
You are speaking to my heart right now. I have to tell you, it's so funny. I've been using Curl Keeper exclusively for decades. Okay. And it was a game changer in my life. And since Tamara and I have been doing this podcast, we've been privileged to have several product samples sent our way. And no matter what, I always use the Curl Keeper as a base, no matter what we try, because I'm so scared to not use it.
I hear you.
It's such a commitment to do a wash day. And what if I don't use it and then my hair turns into a frizz ball? So anyway, I feel you. It's always on my curl shelf too.
Always. And Jonathan knows how much I love his product. I'm like, please.
You need to introduce us to Jonathan. We're like closet fans, but we should have him on sometime too.
You should have him. Oh, he's amazing. He did a workshop. So yeah. Okay. I'm not going to go into it.
Sold.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. What is your favorite hair accessory?
Ooh, I like my clips. I love my clips. I know it's not really, sexy or anything, but my clip is like my go-to and I love my clip. And I just do
what type of clips?
My big claw clip at the back. So I do half a up down with my little, clip there and then hair falling down. I do sometimes small little clip, like pigtail clips. And so clips all the way. I want to like hair bands, but I'm not there yet mentally.
Yeah. Me too. Wow. Okay. So this is another totally aside, and then we'll let you get on with your day and we'll get on with our day. But there's a wonderful woman. I have some great Facebook groups in my neighborhood of Closet Edit and Decor Edit. The Closet Edit, there was a stylist in our Facebook group, and she was going to full-time styling. She was having a major blowout sale from her online business because she's moving on to full-time styling. She had these amazing claw clips, and she was giving our Facebook group like a discount code. And last night at 11 o'clock at night, I'm buying all these gorgeous claw clips of like marbled, like tortoise shell, but like different color combinations. And I just like, if you can find something, I find because of the curls, even a smaller claw clip kind of can hold it in place. Like I don't need 10,000 bobby pins. It's one of the good things, right, about not having straight hair that like right?
I can't do bobby pins. Like, I'm sorry, the whole conversation here, but I can't, like my hair is there's so much of hair. Like I have very high density hair. So like my braid is like this thick, but like bobby pin, that's why clips for me work because I can just different sizes and I'm crazy about clips. Buy me a clip, I'm here for life.
It's funny you should say that you love clips because I was shopping for them last night at 11 o'clock at night and have to
trying
go
to get
like
the sale.
Yeah, like this discount code and it like these women were just like going on mass to like snap up all her Jenny Bird jewelry, her hair clips, like our whole Facebook group sold out her entire inventory.
That's amazing. Invite me to your Facebook group so I shall know about these clips.
I'll try. Yeah. Steph, any other rapid fire questions?
Yes. Just one more and it's the last one. What would you tell your younger self about your hair?
Oh gosh, this is not rapid fire at all, but I would say, try to love your hair every day. Do a little affirmation in the mirror because that helps as an adult. Like, I love my hair. That little girl in the mirror. I love myself. I love my day. Like something like that. And just kind of say it out loud because the more you say it out loud, the more you believe it. The more you believe it, the more you embrace it, the more confident you feel. So yes, that was rapid fire.
Yeah, good one. What a delight.
That's a good note to end on.
It is. What a delight to talk to you. Thank you so much for being our guest today. It's so nice to see you and get to know about your hair journey and your wonderful event that's coming up. And we'll be sure to promote it in our social channels.
I so appreciate that. Thank you so much, ladies.
Wow. Thank you, Alecia. That was amazing. If you guys don't have tickets, you have, 3 or 4 months left to get your tickets. However, I'm sure the new year is going to fly by and it will be April before we know it. CurlyCon live in Toronto and also online, 2-day event. This is going to be super fun. So you can buy your tickets now.
Go grab your tickets at curlyconevent.com. Thanks, Alecia May, for joining us today. And thanks everyone for tuning in. Happy holidays. Happy almost New Year.
See you in the new year with more fun hair adventures.
Well said. Bye.
Bye.